emotions plays a significant role in shaping our behavior, influence how we give feedback, collaborate with the teams, and resolve our conflicts. By understanding aspects and sources, applying concepts such as emotional labor, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, and spiritual intelligence, the leaders and the managers can able to maintain the balance, build trust, and create a positive and productive environment. After this discussion, you will be able to understand the what is emotion and distinguish between emotions and muse, recognizing the key aspects that shape their emotional experience, identify the sources that influence them. You will also gain insights into the emotional labor at workplace and appreciate the role of social and emotional and spiritual intelligence in building stronger relationships. Against this backdrop, we have with us today the experts in the organizational behavior, Professor T. Krishna Kumar, Retd Professor, Professor of Commerce, Osmania University, and also Vinay Chaganti, industry expert from the Hyderabad. Welcome to you, sir. This session is useful for the students of MBA, MBA HSCM, Diploma and MCOM students. Dear students, this session is informative and also interactive. You are advised, if you get any problems, you are advised to call upon this number. I am telling that 040-23680-456. I repeat the number 040-23680-456. Let us start our discussion. Professor Krishna Kumar, can you please provide insights into the what is emotions and moods?
Welcome to this program. At the outset, let me thankful to Ambedkar Open University to share my views on the subject emotions and emotional intelligence and other things. And I'm also happy because Professor Vinay Chaganti is with us and he will supplement a lot of things to whatever I spoke. Let me start with the question that is posed by my friend Radha Krishna. He asked about what is emotion, what are the components of emotion, what are the source of this emotion. An emotion is a complex psychological state that is an instinctive, often unconscious reaction to a specific internal or external event. Let us remember, these emotions are distinct from feelings and moods because they are relatively brief and intense. Science says that the entire source of these emotions is the limbic system, and this limbic system is a group of interconnected brain structures that help regulate our emotions and behavior. These structures of limbic system, they work together with other brain regions by processing our memory, thoughts and motivation, then tell us how our body to respond. Therefore, people they consider that the limbic system as the emotional nervous system. The reason being it connects between our physical and emotional well-being. Our limbic system is involved when we are eating, when we are feeling pleasure, and it is also involved when our blood pressure is there. So keeping these things in view, I think what we tell, emotions they are instinct, and we will proceed further.
Dr. Vinay, emotions are instincts? Would you like to speak anything about this?
Yeah, just to add to Professor Krishna Kumar's point, the theoretical point about what constitutes emotion as a physiological system coming from a limbic system, I want to give a practical tip on understanding emotions in real life. The hint is very simple. If you are feeling an instant reaction to any incident that you go through, then you are experiencing emotion. Remember, the key word is whether your reaction is instantaneous. If your reaction is not instantaneous, or if you are able to just reason out your reaction and then play it over a longer time, then you are definitely not experiencing emotion. You are probably experiencing a different kind of feeling that could be classified as an affect or a mood. So be very clear, emotions are always instantaneous, and that is how you identify them.
Dr. Vinay, you are speaking about moods and emotions. Is there any difference between these words, moods and emotions and affect?
Yes. Generally speaking, moods play out over a long time, and emotions are, like I said, instantaneous. The example that I can think of is, imagine you are sitting at the workplace and you get an appreciation from your boss, and you were not even expecting that appreciation from your superior, right? And the appreciation comes in the form of a nice message on one of your communication channels. Obviously, you are happy, but this feeling kind of plays over for the entire day. If you receive the appreciation in the morning, you tend to experience that joy over the rest of the day. It makes you come back to the work next day with more positive energy and so on. That would be an example of mood that plays out over time. Imagine a slightly different scenario where you are sitting with a customer in a business review call, and the customer makes it a point to actually call you out by name and appreciate you in front of everybody in a meeting that is happening. At that point, you have happiness as an emotion that you can instantly express, because you are sitting among all the stakeholders that are connected to the project, and you are being called out specifically as a special person. At that point, your joy, instantaneous reaction to a client's call out, is an emotion. And that's not a feeling that you can carry after the meeting is over. So please remember again, emotion is for that particular instant, whereas a mood can play out over time, right? So one is time, but the other is also the space in which you have the opportunity to either play out or not play out. Emotions usually don't give you the space to let it play out. You have to vent, or you have to express and then move on.
Professor Krishna Kumar, sir, Vinay is telling that workplace. So what is the significance of maintaining the emotions at workplace?
There are three reasons, main reasons that I consider why we need to think about managing emotions at workplace. The first reason is, I need to create a positive, pleasurable workplace, or I need to create a positive work environment. This happens only when we manage our emotions. The reason is, emotions are contagious. If we have positive emotions, I think we'll be in a position to create a positive work environment, a pleasurable work environment, wherein people, they contribute to their best. On the other hand, when there is a negative work environment, I think people will not be in a position to contribute better. So the first thing is, to create positive work atmosphere, we have to manage our emotion. When we create positive atmosphere, the second thing what happens, the stress and burnout that is among our colleagues, our team, I think that will come down. Then the third thing is, it will enhance our leadership. See, there is a leadership style what Daniel Goleman calls it as focused leadership, wherein he talks about you have to look within, you have to look around, you have to look others also. So when you have this primal leadership, emotional intelligence, primal leadership that enhances our leadership style, we try to get the best from our colleagues. So first reason is why I need to create a positive workplace is, how it is done, it is through managing emotions. I need to create a positive work environment. Once we create positive work environment, the second thing that happens is, it boosts productivity and performance. It increases our focus. Better decisions can be taken when we people are focused. And third reason why we need to have, to fall is inevitable. I think several times in the life of an organization, there will be ups and downs. When we have downs, we need to be resilient, we need to adapt ourselves to the changing circumstances. That happens only when we are able to manage emotions at our workplace. And the third thing is, when we manage our emotions at workplace, we can enhance communication, we can collaborate also. And when our communication is good, when we are able to collaborate, the first thing that happens is, we will be in a position to improve trust. Trust, let me tell you, it travels at a greater speed. When you create trust, it also fosters empathy. And you know, empathy, it is one of the greatest skills that we can possess while leading people. And when we have trust and empathy, it reduces conflicts in the organization. Ultimately, the organizational objectives like productivity, profitability, and all these things will be improved. Therefore, what we consider managing emotions at workplace is very, very important.
Dr. Vinay, positive work environment. Would you like to give any examples for this?
Yes, yes. Just to continue the point that Professor Krishna Kumar already made, managing emotions at workplace is the primary method in which you build the culture of the workplace, right? People are working with people to achieve certain goals. So interacting with people and learning how to interact and build a positive culture is the name of the game, and that is what people should be involved in.
Dr. Vinay, why are the emotions often ignored in organizations?
That's a good question, but it's a very hard question to answer also. So one reason for that is it would be a mistake to generalize saying that emotions are often ignored at the workplace. The reason is, I mean, we are people. People are working with people, like I said. So as long as we are able to take care of each other, you cannot come to the conclusion that emotions are ignored at the workplace. But that said, I can understand why it feels like emotions are ignored at the workplace. The reason for that is somehow the workplace insists that your focus is on more of delivering to your goals, delivering to your projects, delivering to whatever is asked of you. So the focus is more on tasks and whether you are able to finish tasks, and nobody really asks you, hey, how did you feel when you were doing the task? So somehow at the workplace, there is this impression that your logic is valued over and above your ability to deal with people or over and above your creativity. These are things that may not appear as if they are cared for, and therefore it might look like emotions are ignored at workplace. But the other reason why also it can feel is because think about how we have grown, right? You go to a school, you learn the skills of reading and writing and doing math. You go to a college, you enhance those same skills by saying, okay, now I can compute better, I can do calculus, or I can understand science, or I can understand certain derivations. But nowhere in your education system, somebody teaches you very consciously how do you deal with emotions. There are of course subjects like social sciences that you study, and of course schools and colleges are systems, social systems, where you are expected to pick up on emotions and understand and evolve how to deal with those emotions. But that said, there is no formal training on how you deal with emotions. There is no formal understanding of what is it that you expect at the workplace in terms of emotions and how do you deal with those emotions. The idea of a happy employee is never really discussed. The idea of a productive employee is very often discussed. And that's the reason why this question feels very pertinent. But it would be wrong to conclude that emotions are ignored. They look like they're ignored because something else seems to dominate the entire narrative.
Yeah, we have done with emotions. Now it is for us, what are the functions of emotion? Professor Krishna Kumar?
Before dwelling on the function of emotions, let me share with you Phineas gag. Okay, this is the story, and this story tells us that emotions, they are functional. In this story, Phineas gag, I think he met with an accident. When he was met with an accident, I think from his skull to, I think if I am not wrong, till his neck, I think a rod has gone inside, and of course it is the grace of God he survived. He survived, but because of this, in this entire process, that they found that he lost the ability to emote, and which has led to loss of the ability to reason. From this discovery, the researchers learned that emotions provide us with valuable information that helps our thinking process. I think previously I was telling the sources of emotions. See how our brain plays a vital role. Let us not think that emotions are useless. They perform a lot of functions. Because of emotions only, we have things like jealousy, anger, fear, empathy, and all these things. And this field of study says functions of emotion. We must experience, a human being must experience emotions. They might be positive, they might be negative, because they serve a purpose. Then the functions of emotions we try to put into three categories. One is called evolutionary or survival function. The second thing happens to be social function, and third thing happens to be a psychological function. If we talk about evolutionary function, all of us know when something happens, when something triggers, you can think about fear, you can think about fire accident or something. Suddenly we see lot of changes that take place in our body. The moment these changes that take place in our body, immediately we start reacting to that one. We try to protect ourselves, we want to avoid accidents. And not only that, when we are emotional, it leads to reproduction and bonding and love, affection. All these things are products of these emotions. Therefore, the first function of emotion is, it is evolutionary and survival function. And the second function that we have in emotion is, they help us to communicate to people. How to communicate, how to change our communication, how to have empathy, how to motivate people, all these things will take place because of emotion. Then the second social function is, these emotions, they help us to have social bonds in the organization. We are not going to organization just to produce something. Besides producing something, even at our home, we want to have this kind of social bonds, and that will take place. And the third thing that happens is, it provides social regulations, how we have to behave, how we are not supposed to behave. Also, this is taught by these emotions. Then the third kind of function we got psychological functions, like these emotions, they make us to learn. Learning is a relative changing in our behavior, which comes because of my experience or somebody's experience. These emotions, they help us to memorize. These emotions, they help us to motivate ourselves and to motivate others, and to create a positive, pleasurable environment, so that people, they get themselves motivated. And these emotions, they help us to take appropriate decision. Many times we think people are always rational, but several times it is amply proved that there is a bounded rationality in our decision making. That happens because of these emotions.
What are the sources of emotions and moods? Dr. Vinay, could you please elaborate on this one?
Number one factor for controlling somebody's emotions and moods, I would say, is how they conduct themselves, how they physiologically take care of themselves. Are they eating right? Are they sleeping right? Are they getting enough physical activity? What age are they keeping up with the metabolism that is required for that age? What kind of personality they are building for themselves in general? And these are all factors that are within the control of the individual, right? So if you get into good habits, good routines, generally you become more and more aware of yourself, and the emotions can tend to stay in control. There are also factors that you go into, right, during the day. As you become part of several activities, you might encounter people, you might encounter tasks, you might encounter different activities that you may have to go through, and these all could lead you to react differently to them, right? So imagine waking up in the morning and the first person that you are meeting is your best friend. I can understand that your emotion might be happiness, joy, and the entire day is expected to go well. But imagine on a different day you wake up and the first person that you have to deal with is a very, very unhappy customer, and he is already cussing on the phone, speaking with you. Then obviously your day is already spoiled. So there are certain factors that you can control, which is mostly individual, how you keep yourself. There are also a ton of situational factors that you go through, where you can be aware of what the situation is and you can try to regulate your emotions. but the situations also contain some of these triggers of how you react and how you keep up your mood.
Professor Krishna Kumar, would you like to supplement anything for these sources of emotions?
Yes, sir. I think Professor Vinay has amply discussed practically the sources of emotions and moods, but we can sum up all these things into basically two factors. One, we call them as individual factors. The other one, we call it as a situational factors. And whatever he was talking about, the way you get up early in the morning, the way you meet people, the type of music that you listen early in the morning. So, the individual factors, we can say what type of personality we have. You know very well that some people, when they are watching cricket, you know, the happiness they try to express. There are some people, maybe it is not out of context to say, there is a movie called Resiguram, right? Yes. There are some people, they were enjoying. I think in that movie they show heroine, the way she enjoys something, and no one thinks that she is enjoying, but when the hero asks, she says, still I am enjoying. See, there are some people, they are very serious, but they are enjoying, but there are people who are too expressive. That is called the type of personality people they possess. Okay. Then the second thing which impacts our emotions and moods is, I think today what we are lacking is sleep, right? At what time we sleep, at what time we get up. Night time sleep is too precious. I want to tell people who are working in industry, you know very well they have night shift and all these things. Many times you know very well that will have a negative impact on their emotions and moods. And third thing, the type of exercise that we are doing, that also has a lot of impact on our emotions and moods. I think early morning you get up, I think you go out, or evening you go out, you take a walk. I think after evening time you talk to friends. I think that itself creates a good mood, a good emotion. Not only this, the age factor is also very important. Gender is also very important. I think what we are told, females, I think normally they have lot of good emotions and moods for a long time. And apart from this, there are several situational factors that influence our emotions and moods, like Monday. I think somebody said, thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. The reason is very simple. When Friday is approaching, then you think about Saturday and Sunday. But today we tell people, can we make our organization to say our employee, thank God it's Monday, I can go to workplace. I think we are many industry unit, they are working towards that, to make their people to say thank God it's Monday. They want to make their place a pleasurable workplace. And not only that, when you feel stressed also, you get into a bad mood, a bad emotion. Your social activities, if you are involved in social activity, I think somebody told me, the joy of giving when you learn, when you are involved in this one, I think you will have good emotions and moods. And apart from this, I think you are supposed to emit, I think, certain kinds of emotion when you are in workplace. I think emotional labor, it influences a lot. We are going to have a little detailed discussion on this topic also, I think, after a few minutes. Then the workplace events, everybody wants to make the workplace a pleasant workplace by creating several events. And when you create the workplace a pleasant workplace, I think people will have good emotions and moods. I think my friend Vinay told me, I think while taking lunch, he was given incentive if he performs well, that the incentive is he can spend time in Falaknuma Palace for some time. And that workplace events, I think they have created a lot of good mood. I think he enjoyed in that particular place. Therefore, what we are telling is there are two factors which make basically two sources of emotion. Number one, individual factor. The second one happens to be the situational factors.
That is a great example. Thank you, sir. And sir, Professor Krishna Kumar, sir, what is emotional intelligence?
I think nowadays everybody is talking about this topic. A lot of training programs is conducted. And what people they are telling, there are many people, they are having good IQ, they are miserably failing in their workplace, in their life. The reason happens to be they do not have proper emotional intelligence. Everybody talks about this emotional intelligence, but what the simple meaning of emotional intelligence is? My ability to recognize, understand and manage my emotions, and to recognize and understand, influence the emotions of others. This is precisely what we call it as emotional intelligence. It is a set of skills that helps us to navigate social complexities, handle successful situations and make effective decisions also.
Dr. Vinay, would you like to supplement anything for this emotional intelligence?
Yeah, for the students who are watching this, if you want to become emotionally intelligent, one suggestion that I have for all of you is that you should pick up this book. It's called The Prince. The author of this book is Niccolo Machiavelli. Please pick up that book. That book is about 100 pages long. It should be finished in about 3 to 4 hours. It should be a fairly simple read. But spend some time on reading that book. Why am I saying this? You saw the theoretical definition of what emotional intelligence is, but let us try to break it down into components, right? If I am supposed to be emotionally intelligent, number one, I should know what my emotions are. Number two, I am in a social interaction, so I must know what your emotions are, assuming that I am interacting with you. Number three, I must also be aware of what kind of emotions you like to receive. And number four, I should be able to control my emotions in such a way that I can play exactly the emotion that you want to see from me, right? And that's a very complex play. The reason why I recommended that book is because Niccolo Machiavelli was the first person who established this fundamental idea that you can be in this conversation while listening to me right now, and yet you can start observing yourself on how you are receiving this lesson. Just like I can observe myself whether I am doing well or not. This is called proprioceptive feedback, right? Or I could also be observing, hey, what is happening with my other speakers? So it is almost a God-given gift that all of us have, where you could be in a conversation, physically getting involved in the conversation, but at the same time you could also have a mirror image version of you standing behind you, watching the whole situation, guiding you on what is the next best action. In many movies, this is kind of projected as the Antaratma kind of going out and playing all the frustrations and all of that for fun's sake. But do pick up the book, The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Read the book, understand why being emotionally intelligent is a very significant competitive advantage. That book talks about how a prince can become a prince and how a prince can go on to become a king, indomitable king. I think the lessons from that book are still taken by many people around the world. Spend some time, easy read, be emotionally intelligent.
Dr. Vinay, you are speaking about components of the emotional intelligence. So I think you are best able to give insights on this one also.
No, as I said, I broke it down, right? Number one, you should be aware of what your own emotions are. Number two, you should be aware of what are the emotions that people are likely to receive, right? Number three, you should be able to play out in that interaction. What is it that the other person likes and how do I present it to them?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, please tell me.
Sir, my name is Sairam. I would like to ask a question.
Okay.
The question is, what do you understand by the values of an entity, sir, and what is the need for value education? Thank you very much.
Values of?
What do you understand by the values of an entity,
Values
and
of,
what is the need for value education?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Dr. Vinay will speak on this.
Yeah, Sairam, good question. I have to clarify a couple of things here. Number one, when you say values, if it is values of people, then I can talk about it a bit. But you said values of entity. I'm assuming you're not referring to things like how much does this mobile phone cost, right? Because if that is the case, then that is a very obvious answer, right? Value of entity. I am assuming that you are referring to values of people. If that is the case, then I need to talk about two different branches here. Number one, values as predispositions. You will like to see yourself as a particular type of person, therefore you believe that you have certain traits, right? Let me give an example. Imagine that you are a doctor who is presented with a challenge called euthanasia. Euthanasia is a scenario where you have a patient in front of you. The patient is in severe pain. There is no cure to the pain. As a doctor now, you have a choice. Would you kill the patient because the pain is not curable and there is no point for the patient to live with the pain? Or would you let the patient live with the pain, right? That's a very, very tough decision to make. Now, when you are put in dilemma situations like this where you don't obviously know what is the right decision to make, it is your values that come to the aid that tell you what to do, right? And there's no right answer or wrong answer here because values by themselves are not right or wrong, right? So you could say, hey, killing is wrong, therefore I will let the patient live on even if the patient is living through pain. That could be one kind of value system that you have. There could be some other doctor who will say, no, I mean the patient needs to die because there is no point for the patient to go through this pain every day. How long should he tolerate the pain, right? And then they might kill the patient administering euthanasia. This is a widely debated contest. We are nobody to say what is right, what is wrong, but those are practically the predispositions that people have that guide their actions, right? But as I said, having predisposition is one thing, values as predispositions, but values in action are completely different thing. That allows you to understand whether you are the person you think you are or whether you are talking about yourself in one way but acting out in some other way, right? So values as predispositions is how you think of yourself. That is your self-awareness, that is your self-concept. But the values that you project are through your actions. Therefore, people associate value that you demonstrate through your actions with your personality. That is probably awareness about you among others.
Yeah, I think there are many laws with respect to active and passive euthanasia. Is it right, sir? Yes. Sir, Professor Krishna Kumar, sir, why the emotional intelligence is playing a significant role in present day?
Emotional intelligence, what we consider is very, very important in every organization, because if we are emotionally, basically, I think I want to clarify this one. We are emotional, we are intelligent too, we are rational.
Yes.
The question is, how do we strike a balance between these two?
Yes.
Can we be always emotional? Can we be always rational? Vinay, can we be always rational?
No.
Can we be always emotional?
No.
No. How to strike a balance between these two? I think when we strike a balance between these two, I think we can improve our decision making. We don't think when we are emotionally intelligent that our decision is the perfect decision. We start thinking there's something called bounded rational. That is what I was mentioning, and it improves our decision making. My decision today, it is based on the information that is available today, and maybe tomorrow my decision may change. I think my friend is talking about values, doctors, and pain, excruciating pain, and all these things. In certain cases, what happens, we think there is no medicine. Some people may recommend, we can kill that patient, they may recommend, but maybe the next day or after a few days, I think a new medicine may come which cures these things. I think we can see lot of examples regarding this one. So it improves our decision making. Then the second thing is, when we are emotionally intelligent, to a large extent we will be in a position to deal with occupational stress. I am not saying stress will be removed, but we know how to deal with stress and all these things. Then when we are emotionally intelligent, when we create positive, pleasurable work environment, that reduces the staff turnover also, because they try to be in the organization. They will not leave for higher wage jobs because they have experienced a good atmosphere in your organization. it also increases our personal well-being. Then, as I told you, when we are emotionally intelligent, there is a thing called focus leadership that develops. Once we develop this focused leadership, I think we'll be in a position to deal with others properly, we'll be in a position to deal with the environment properly, and all these things will happen. Besides all these things, we will also develop a sort of team spirit. So, all these things again I'll sum up into three major things. Number one, it enhances our workplace success. Then the second thing, it helps us to manage people relationship management. See, you take up any subject today, they use the word relationship. You can think about investor relations, you can think about customer relations, you can think about HR relations. I think family relations, okay? Relationships need to be developed. That happens only when we have this emotional intelligence. And not only this, stress management. Today people, they're talking about stress management, stressed out, burnout, all these terms they are using. I think stress management takes place when we are able to reason out and when we are able to manage our emotions in an intelligent way.
Now, decision making in management, it is a very big word in a management, I believe. Sir, Vinay Kumar sir, is there any link between emotional intelligence and decision making?
Oh, of course, there is. There is a big link between being emotionally intelligent and making better decisions. As Professor Krishna Kumar mentioned already, we are beings containing emotions, containing logic, and containing the obligations to make decisions, right? Sometimes you need to make decisions faster, sometimes you can take time to make decisions. The only way that you can focus on improving the quality of your decisions is being unbiased and realistic about what information you have at hand, what emotions are you going through, process all of them, take time, and then arrive logically at some conclusion that is best. At this point, I should also clarify, just for the benefit of students, do not think of logic as always a singular term, because there is logic, there are logics. If you have a particular way of looking at a given problem and you think there is one logical way to arrive at a decision, that might be right for you. There could be 5 other people, 10 other people out there, and presented with the same problem statement, same situation, they would have arrived at a completely different decision making based on a completely different logic. Again, we are not here to judge whose logic is right, because understand, as long as somebody connected the dots, they used certain premises, they made certain connections, and they arrived at decisions. That's how logic plays out. You have your logic, somebody else has their logic. Therefore, there are logics. So the way to improve quality of decision making is not to focus on whether you are being logical. The way to improve quality of decisions is to understand whether you have taken enough time, whether you maximize the use of information that you have, whether you understood the emotions, and whether you understood the data at hand.
Sir, Dr. Vinay sir, what are the different dimensions of emotional intelligence?
I think we already spoke about this. Like I said, being emotionally intelligent implies that you have to be aware of your own capacity to play out emotions. Again, let's connect back to some of the lessons that we learned, right? Number one, you have to have experienced a range of emotions. If you are a pampered kid who experienced only happiness or joy and you never felt disappointed, there is no way you can be emotionally intelligent about how to deal with disappointment. If you are a kid who comes from a very middle class family and you have been making all kinds of compromises on how to lead your life, I understand that's a good trait, but there is no way you can understand the problems that a rich kid might have at a college, right? So there are all those requirements to being emotionally intelligent, and the primary requirement is, have you lived through that emotion? Have you lived through that experience? Have you developed an awareness of what that emotion feels like in different situations? And did you get a coverage of different emotions? Once you get a coverage of emotions in a variety of settings, then you know that you are in a position to make some form of judgment about how an emotion feels, what to do, how it plays out, how people will react, and what's the best course forward.
Professor Krishna Kumar sir, can you please explain the emotional labor?
Before getting into emotional labor, can I supplement
you
to
would
what?
like to yes, sir. You can supplement it.
See, the dimensions of emotional intelligence, we have got personal competencies like self-awareness and self-management. And he was telling one good point. Have you gone through those emotions? Okay. Now, many times what happens? We may not be able to go through those emotions because of various reasons. For example, we are men. Certain emotions we cannot go through because of gender. But if we have empathy, if we have empathy, we will be in a position to compensate. You agree with me? Right. The first personal competency we talk about emotional self-awareness, accurate assessments, and self-confidence. Then the second thing that we talk about is how we manage ourselves through self-control, adaptability, achievement orientation, and positive outlook. This is relating to my personal competencies. My personal competencies alone are not enough to have good emotional intelligence. Sorry. We should also have social awareness. Just now I was mentioning about empathy, organizational awareness, and service orientation, and they help us to compensate to a large extent what we are lacking. And beside these things, we should also have inspirational leadership, influence, developing others, conflict management, and team and collaboration. I think these dimensions, they compensate a lot for whatever things that we are lacking. Now my friend asked a question about emotional labor. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, the concept of emotional labor is coined by Arlie Russell Hochschild. She wrote a book. The title of the book is The Managed Heart. It talks about the management of feeling to create a publicly observable facial and bodily display that is sold, remember, that is sold for a wage. Now we see this emotional labor among air hostess, and not only among air hostess, among several things. Let me share with you a small example. Many people, they watch Miss Universe, Miss World, all these competitions. First they announce the third person, then they announce the second person, then the winner of Miss World is announced. Now, when the winner of the Miss World is announced, what the runner-up candidate is expected to do, what kind of emotions they are expected to emit, okay? And that is where you see the actual emotional labor. You can understand the situation of the runner-up candidate. So, emotional labor is the process of managing our own feelings and expressions to meet the emotional requirement of a job. It is a form of work that is often expected in service-oriented organization where employees are required to display certain emotions like cheerfulness, empathy, and patience. You can see people who are working in hospitals, who are working in, I think, who are in the frontline job, and also emergency services in hospitals. They are expected to show a particular kind of emotions. They are showing all those emotions because they are, to a large extent, they are selling their emotions. So, these things we are trying to do in order to earn our wage also. There are some people, they try to express these things from their heart, but sometimes it's not possible to express everything from our heart. Oh, this is the precise meaning of emotional labor. Emotional labor happens through two stages. One is called surface acting, the other one is called deep acting. When an employee fakes a presence, a required emotion without actually feeling, you know very well that the several places when you go, I think the way you are received with a smile because they have paid to learn how to, I'm using this word, they are paid to learn how to smile, and also they are expected to smile. Whether that smile really comes from their heart or not, they try to do it. That is called surface acting. But there are people, they have this deep acting. I think whatever feelings they have, they come from their heart. But now the question is, are they good? Sometimes deep acting has a lot of impact on stress, burnout, and draining our energies and all these things. This is how emotional labor works.
Yes, Dr. Vinay sir, there is a division in the labor. Okay, so what is the difference between the emotional labor and the division of emotional labor?
Division of emotional labor?
Emotional division of labor.
Okay, so point number one, I understand that emotional labor by definition is effectively the work, the emotional work that you put out because you get paid for it. But let us also try and look at the broader picture, right? Yeah. Picture is any job that you go into, you, okay.
Yes. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah,
this
good
is
afternoon.
Srinivas.
Okay.
This is Srinivas, MBA second year
Okay.
from BRAOUMBA University.
Yes.
I have a 3 questions, sir, regarding the managing emotions at workplace.
Okay.
My first question is, how to boost positive mode in teams?
Boost positive.
How to boost positive mode in teams?
Okay.
Between the teams.
Okay.
And my second question is, how to stay motivated under pressure?
Okay.
Can you explain these 2 things
Yes.
in this conference?
Yeah. I think Dr. Vinay will explain. I think so.
I think
Yes, Krishna.
Radha Krishna garu,
Yes, sir.
I think we are going to uncover this question shortly.
Okay.
How to manage our emotions,
Yes, sir.
and how to make use of emotions at workplace and all
Yes,
these things.
yes.
And we are going to discuss these things
Okay.
shortly.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Yes, sir. Sir, Professor Krishna Kumar, sir, why it is important in emotional intelligence?
Why?
Emotional labor is important in workplace.
Yeah, emotional labor today, what we consider is very, very important. Number one, because of the growth of service organizations. That's one thing.
Okay.
Now, I need to give customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction, that means I have to please him. In the process of pleasing him, sometimes my condition might be different. Just because my condition might be different, maybe adverse, it doesn't mean I have to displease him. I think you know all of us know very well, and those who are working in Ambedkar University also. Same question is posed by many students who are at the helping desk. Am I correct?
Yes.
Same question time and again, and we are representing university, and therefore question might be same. I think different people might be asking. Without displeasing them, we should be in a position to answer. So people will be satisfied. When people they are satisfied, the brand image and the reputation of the organization will go up. Because I am representing BR Ambedkar Open University, if I do not respond them properly, I think people they carry that kind of impression.
1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, my name is Vinay from I am calling from Hyderabad, sir.
Okay.
Sir, in our course we have a concept called transactional analysis.
Transaction analysis, okay.
There is a concept of transactional analysis.
Mm.
So, can we use transaction analysis to improve our emotions, particularly in emotional intelligence, sir?
Yeah, it's okay. I think
Yeah.
Vinay sir will explain. I think so. Yeah.
I have one more question, sir.
Okay.
Sir, personal emotions and mood affects our workplace performance, our personal emotions and mood.
Mm-hmm.
And emotions and moods we undergo in office affects our personal life.
Okay.
Please, can you elaborate how to control them in personal emotions and mood at workplace, sir?
Okay. Yes.
Thanks.
I think Vinay sir.
Okay, so we'll deal with question number 1 first. The question number 1 was about transactional analysis. Transactional analysis is just one of the several frameworks out there to understand how emotions can play out. The fundamental idea of transaction analysis is that people get into certain positions. Sometimes they tend to act like a child, sometimes they tend to act like an adult, sometimes they tend to act like a parent. And given any situation, if there are two individuals talking to each other, they can assume different positions. So imagine two people talking and they are all talking from the position of being a child. Then the conversation can be chirpy, happy and so on. So typically all the emotions might be extreme emotions, either over happiness, over joy, or maybe there is a lot of anger also if the situation is negative. The expectation with transaction analysis is that when you elevate yourself from a childlike state to an adult-like state, that is where you have better control on your emotions, and then you can regulate and have a more informed conversation. Whereas if you go into a parental position, you are kind of trying to dominate the other person, which is again not necessarily a good show of emotional intelligence. So transactional analysis, let us keep that in context. It is just one of the many frameworks out there for us to understand how emotions play out. It's not everything. It's one useful framework, one very popular framework. You could use it. The idea again is if you are using it, you tend to try and stay as adult as long as possible.
Yes. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Myself, Sridhar.
Okay.
I want to ask a question.
Okay.
How can managers and teams handle emotions at workplace?
Managers and teams.
Can you explain it?
Okay. Yeah, Professor Krishna Kumar. Yes. Okay.
First question. This
Yeah,
question.
I
I think the question that we got earlier and the question that we got now are kind of linked, right? The second question that the earlier participant asked was, how do we separate the influence of emotions at workplace at home and home at workplace? And the same kind of question but in a slightly different tone, if I am at workplace, how do I control the emotions between the manager subordinate or between peer to peer? The reality is these are all different situations, these are all different axes that we are drawing in our life to say that, hey, I am operating right now, morning 8 o'clock, I am at home, I am talking to my wife, I am talking to my kids. Somehow my emotional intelligence is different or should be different. And then you are saying by 9 o'clock I reached office, so somehow my emotional intelligence should be different. That's not the case. The topic of emotional intelligence, although it is articulated as managing emotions at workplace, you are emotionally intelligent. Emotional intelligence, if you have that skill, you can exhibit that skill in any situation that you go through, right? I mean, think of the example. Sometimes the best response that you can give to a complaining wife is not to offer a logical solution, but just to stay quiet. That's being emotionally intelligent. A similar thing works also at a workplace where a boss comes and complains to you, hey, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, we are under pressure, customer is complaining. You don't have to logically answer everything. Stay quiet and see how it plays out. So staying quiet is a skill, and that might play out well both at the workplace and at home. It depends on how much you are learning about your own emotions, how to respond to those different emotions, and whether you can carry across those skills to different spaces. That's all.
Yes, sir. Sir, we are running.
I think
Yes.
our friend asked one question: how do we manage emotions
Yes,
at
sir.
workplace?
I think Vinay sir already explained. I think so, sir. We have another important aspects which we have to cover.
Okay.
Sir, can you please explain the concept of social intelligence and spiritual intelligence?
Social intelligence and
Spiritual intelligence.
Yeah, we will go to. There are two important things. One is social intelligence and spiritual intelligence. The concept of social intelligence, it was conceptualized by Tandokar in 1920. But this is popularized by two great people, Howard Gardner and Daniel Goleman. And they wrote the influential book on social intelligence, The New Science of Human Relationship, in 2006. Social intelligence, it talks about the ability to understand and efficiently navigate social interactions. You should be able to understand these things. It involves being aware of one's own and others' emotions and behavior and motivations in order to build relationships and act wisely in various social situations. And often we refer to as people skill or street smart. These are the words we use. This social intelligence has got two components. Number one, social awareness, your ability to understand the people with whom you are talking and mixing, their sentiments and all these things. Then there is the social facility, or the second component we call it as the relationship management. These are the two things which help us to have the social intelligence in the organization. Then I think you asked me to explain something about spiritual intelligence too.
Yes, sir.
Spiritual intelligence, it was popularized by physicist and philosopher Dana Zohar and her collaborator Ian Marshall. They have introduced this term in 1997. Zohar and Marshall are credited with popularizing the concept through their book Spiritual Intelligence, The New Way to Real World. Spiritual intelligence is a concept that has emerged in the recent decade as a higher dimension of intelligence. It complements, remember, it is not negating, it's complementing IQ, that is intellectual quotient, and also emotional intelligence. Remember these two words.
Yes.
It is not negating. It is defined as the ability to address and solve problems of meaning and value. I think my friend asked a question on what are these values and other things. It talks about what is the meaning of life, what is the value of life, how to reconcile higher values, personal values with organizational values, and to place one's life and action in a wider, richer and more meaningful context.
Yes, it's okay, sir. Dr. Vinay, sir, just one example for spiritual intelligence.
I think Professor Krishna Kumar already covered. If you are able to deal with values, then you are operating in the realm of spiritual intelligence. One example that I can think of very quickly is, if you look at the Kantian philosophy, Immanuel Kant's philosophy, one of the fundamental reasons that, or the explanations that he gives about why people do anything that they do, is that it is out of a sheer sense of duty. It is your duty. For example, think of a scenario where a doctor is trying to treat a patient, but the patient happens to be a murderer. And the ethical question there is, well, should the doctor save the murderer? And the Kantian philosophy simply says, no, the doctor should continue saving any patient because it's his duty to save, right? So if you're operating in the realm of ethical questions, dealing with ideas of why you are doing what you are doing, then you are there.
Yeah, that is done. Thank you, Professor Krishna Kumar sir. This is, I think, excellent discussion we had. Dr. Vinay sir also given me a good number of examples, lively examples. I think this can be useful for the students in present day. Okay, thank you one and all. Thanks to the EMMRC and